Greetings, it is I, Susie Q. I am super excited to be engaging with a new video and some new concepts that might be showing up as super fun, amazing, and awesome. So, so for a lot of you, I'm Susie Juravich. I'm out of Scottsdale, super fun. I do the Akashic Records, and I also do quantum healing hypnosis technique. I'm a practitioner, level 2 practitioner. I've had a lot of amazing sessions with both, with Akashic Records and with QHHT. So it's been super fun to just start looking at all of these experiences that I've been sitting with, when I have people come in for these sessions. And there was one that was kind of showing up for me. I think it was yesterday or maybe even this morning. I was thinking about this is so crazy. So, I have had so many experiences with the Akashic Records, like I said, and the QHHT. But every once in a while, some of that energy will just kind of come in, and it'll remind me about that beautiful breath of life of how we can expand our horizons and how we can move deeper into understanding more about why we're here and what we're doing. It's really, really fun, and I absolutely love this. So this could also be a blend of the QHHT and also with the Akashic Records. And so it's really fun when we can see those similarities and we can see all of that energy is really working for that person. So this was back in Houston. Um, and so I've been up here in Arizona since about 2018, but I used to do quite a few Akashic Records at my own place and then also at a beautiful office space that I had the ability to, kind of have a different, more professional, kind of looking office. So it was really, really fun to do that. But this was when I went to a person's house back in Houston, and we had a nice conversation, and he just kind of felt like he wasn't doing everything that he needed to do, right? And he was, I think he was a teacher at a school working with IT stuff, maybe IT or woodworking. I think he was doing a couple different classes with his high school students. And so he kind of felt like he wasn't really advancing in life and he wasn't really feeling like he had been, living his purpose or anything. But then when we moved into the Akashic Records, it was pretty fascinating because some of the information that was coming through was really illuminating more life for him and more light for him, life and light, right? And so, what I was, when I do the Akashic Records, I am actively listening to a person who is, seeking something different, right? They come in for a specific thing, right? Which is super fun. And then we kind of work on that. But when I went through listening, actively listening, and then the impressions come in really easily for me. So the Akashic Records are just kind of a placeholder. Sometimes they call it the Book of Life, the Book of Souls, or you could just say the Akashic Records. So a lot of things that are stored within the Akashic Records are easily accessible for me when I do these sessions. So he was, working at a high school. And then I got the impression that he was on a highly technological space where there was technology in the space. It was kind of a neutral space, kind of maybe kind of more kind of a blue or gray space that it was. And so they had what we call humans, right? Like us, right? Is that people were coming in for healing. And what was interesting about that was because he was like, so like, I don't think I'm doing enough, right? I don't think I'm doing enough. I feel like I'm just helping these students, right? But in another experience, whether it's multidimensional, past life, present life, or concurrent running timeline, we don't know. We don't need to identify exactly the space that he was in, but that energy was actually just showing us, that technology goes across all time and all space. I think when he came up out of that session, I was really describing it at the very best that I could because it was like so cool and so neat. But we call that maybe like, it might be like a respite. It may be a time for a person to come in to have a quiet session. And there, it was all kind of, everything was like super smooth, right? And all monochromatic. There was really nobody that was implementing anything, but my feeling was, my energy was suggesting is that they're there for a quiet contemplation or some healing or time of respite or time of relaxation. And with that, that is that part of him that was beginning to feel a little bit lighter when we started talking about these healing energies. And you could say it could be in a place, you could say it was on a ship, you could say whatever you want to say, right? But apparently it wasn't from this world, right? This planet that we're on. So with that, we get new guidance. And so if some people think, well, I'm just kind of doing the mundane stuff, but if we go into some of these sessions with the QHHT or the Akashic records, we may find some semblance of that ineffable quality that, and it just is, we start noticing through some of these sessions that people are, I'm not doing the right thing, and all of these, things aren't working for me. But then when we start working again a little bit deeper with the subconscious work, and so that's specifically for the QHHT is the subconscious work, as we're able to assist people to illuminate that light and to bring in more of an expansive experience with living, right? And so even with this little storyline about this man who was a teacher at a high school, doing some IT, and I think he was in woodworking too, he just felt like he was not doing enough. But then when we went deeper with the records, we could see that he was a very powerful being, even though we maybe didn't see him in essence, but that was what was coming through with the impressions that I received. Now, oftentimes people ask, I don't know what you're talking about, Susie. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's cool, right? So I love Dolores Cannon. I've got one of her books here. It's Five Lives Remembered. That was, I think, that first book, but it wasn't published for a long time. So I just, love the great teachers in my field that have been assisting me. I never got to meet her in person, but I have followed her for years and years, and now I'm one of those practitioners. Okay. So when we start looking at things that are happening in our field right now, is that we really want to move into these powerful engagements with being more powerful with our energies, being more thoughtful and more aware of how we're speaking into, our experiences, and we can uplift. Sometimes we could say, well, I made a faux pas, made a kind of a downer vibration, right? With words, is you can easily just kind of reframe it like it's a beautiful day today. I feel harmony in all of my experiences this morning. It's wonderful. I love eating clear and wonderful food. I'm a juicer, so I love processing juicing, and I love picking out, the right ingredients for a perfect juicing. And so when we really start looking at all of these things, and like maybe you're thinking, I'm not really engaging with life, or maybe I'm not in the right community, or, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing now, is you can at least have a conscious awareness of your breath. And when we really look at it, people ask, what's the biggest thing for people right now? And I really feel like it's that sense of loving self. I just want to love myself. And the more that I can love myself, then my field gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And with that, it starts expanding. So that sense of love of self is so powerful right now for so many people. And so even if you want to love yourself, you could just do some conscious breathing, like breathing in and breathing out. Whew. Breathing in and breathing out. So sometimes people get triggered, or there's all these little things that are going on, and you can just start noticing and feeling that sense of neutrality, that everything is working for you. Okay, now you may be hearing noise out here, lots of loud noise, blah, blah, blah. But then you can still focus on your beautiful breath of life. You can just really focus on your divinity, your sovereign self. You are sovereign. I'm going to remind you, you are sovereign, right? And so as we move into that sovereignty, even with some of these stories and some of these experiences, we first started with that man at the high school, and then he saw a different vision of himself, even though he wasn't presently there. There was probably an essence of him that was in that space where they were doing this healing and that respite energy. Is we just start kind of assisting one another to find that beautiful pearl of wisdom, or to kind of access those higher realms, or move into, some other dimensional realities that might be bringing more guidance, more wisdom, more insights, and more breath of life. And so, some people are like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means. It doesn't matter. I think because all of us have different words and have different ways of looking at this breath of life. And the more that we really engage with our own divinity, right? Oof, like even if you do a body scan, right? We just go into this beautiful breath of life of our own divinity, our own sovereign self. Each one of us are sovereign beings, right? So sovereign. And the more that we can go and assist others in their own healing journey. And so even when I'm doing all of this work for others, right, is it's healing myself. And so as I'm a witnesser or an observer of life through the QHHT and the Akashic records, I just feel lighter. I feel more joyful. I feel more happy. I feel more engaged with being here, to be really rooted and grounded here. It's so powerful when we're able to witness this beautiful breath of life when a person finds an alternative way of engaging in a better and positive and more uplifted way. And so that is what I love doing with some of this work with the QHHT and the Akashic records. I have so many. I need a stenographer. If there's a stenographer out there, I would love it, because I have got so many recordings that I would like to put into a book or into just something where I can read it out loud. Because some of this work that we do, we have to get permission, to talk about this with others. But it's really interesting. And when you start getting that breath of life, and you start, you kind of it's kind of like taking a part of your visual, or your part of your own reality, and you kind of set it aside for a little bit, and then you let something else kind of emerge for you. And that's a lot of that work that we do with the QHHT and the Akashic records. The subconscious piece, working with the subconscious, I just refer to it as the SC, is a great place to clear some things, to remove some things, to dissolve some things. And even when we do this in the sessions, there's a lot of clarity that comes through doing a little bit of housekeeping. Housekeeping is super fun, because a lot of people maybe don't even resonate with some of the things that have been blocking them, or creating disturbances in the field, or maybe there's entities, or maybe there's other electromagnetic things that are coming up. There's a lot of things right now that are showing up, but we know that we can clear that. And so, even if I'm like silly and being playful and everything, a lot of the energy I do is very powerful. I had a person come just the other day, and she's in a healing journey as well. So we did a lot of toning, a lot of loud Susie toning. And so a lot of that is really beneficial for others, especially if they've never had an experience like that. A little bit of Reiki, and then a lot of toning. And so it's really interesting when we can assist one another. And the more that we do that, it just starts becoming part in my field. It becomes engaging with my beautiful divinity, as that person that's in a healing journey is just kind of, just witnessing the experience when we do these high level types of work. So super fun. I'm kind of like going on and on and on. So I think I'm good for that. But yeah, so when you look at some mundane things you feel that you're living in, right, and then you come in for a session, we might find some other kind of tidbits that might give you a little bit more encouragement to go deeper with whatever your divine purpose is and your divine lessons. And so a lot of that will be revealed through some of these sessions that we do. So it's super fun. So have a great day, and namaste.